Put your butt on me. Hey, Kaydee-Boo. Dear diarrhea, diary full of shit, just plowing me with something I know. Gonna make this real quick, just cause whatever. I have some more rocks to show you. I have them still out in my truck. Just a fair amount. It turns out there's a lot of rocks at this place that I work, this gravel pit, that are either multicolored, speckled, or striped. And they're extremely special because I'm not looking for them. They just catch my eye. So here's one that's kind of got some speckles in it. It's kind of almost looks like it has an X in it. And then there's a line. There's like another X. There's some squiggly shit, multicolored. I ate some stuff earlier, so boogers have migrated from my sinuses and all that shit to my throat. I don't know why it does that, but it does. So I could wash. Let's wash this real quick. The royal let's and see if it's. Oh shit! Should have done that first. Note to self: wash rocks first. There's hidden details under the dart. Okay, so it's just a little bit, like I said, multicolored, whatever. And then this side. So I'll probably save that rock. So pretty cool, huh? This kind of looks like it was like mud at one point. And now it's, it's a rock. This, I believe, is like a rivet cap. This is like iron. This is not a rock. So picture that like on the boiler of an old locomotive or a coal car or something. This gravel pit hasn't been around for that long, obviously, and it's going to close down in a year, and then they're going to move, down the road a little bit. Plus, like I said, they got one site that's going to be running for like another 5 years, and they're getting ready to open another one that they're still kind of, constructing all the buildings and all that shit. So I don't know how this rivet got in that gravel pit. And I don't know how old it is. Was it manufactured way back in the 20s, 50s? I would suspect that it was at least, 40, 50, 60 years ago, because it's rusted out. It's the old school round style, and they don't really make them like that anymore, you know what I mean? So, that's that. So, this gravel pit, did I already mention this? It's got a lot of like intricate, detailed rocks. It's kind of weird. And I went to the grocery store today, and I found this, which is a Lego piece. And it was next to a brick building made out of tan bricks, just like this Lego. So clearly it's the universe saying, hey, let's make this fake shit into real shit. Because Legos are basically like little bricks, you know what I mean? So that's that. And to top everything off, let's bust out 2 fortune cookies at random. Here we go now. I kind of reach in there and off to the sides, and just what have you. Okay, so here we go. I kind of reached in there and grabbed this one, and then reached in and grabbed this one, but I grabbed 2 by accident with my macho, manly, burly man boy paws. And this is the one that I kept right here. And this one was just in there by itself. So this one clearly is like a super fortune because it doesn't even have a fortune cookie. You know, it's like screaming, hey, you don't even need to like break open the cookie to see what's inside. I'm just here. I showed up, you know, somehow I got in the bag, you know, accidentally without a fortune cookie. Maybe the fortune cookie is broke in there somewhere. But here's what this says. A small act of charity will go a long way in bringing you reward. Okay, that's not how charity works. And I got this same fortune in a fortune cookie that I opened the other day just to eat as a snack. So, see, I fucking told you. That entire bag is full of like 10 fortunes just over and over again. So, but I did get this, well, I don't know, a couple days ago. So, I guess, you know, that $5 bill that I gave that bum the other day, well, that lucky lottery ticket that I bought today apparently is going to be a $1 million winner. And I don't remember, well, like 9 million or whatever it is. And I don't remember what that bum looked like, so I guess I'll just keep going back to that place and giving each of those bums, instead of giving them like $5, since I just won $9 million, I'll give them each like $20. Yeah. And maybe buy them like a bottle of water and a packet of bread and bologna. I did that one time. I went into a truck stop and there was a bum, but he was like a beggar or whatever, across the street. I'm such a dumbass dork. Kaydee-Boo, I don't think you heard this story. This was in Louisiana. I was driving with, not Walmart, but the company before that. And I went into a truck stop there and bought like 2 bottles of water, 2 like hoagie sandwiches, and I put like 20, I think I may have even bought some candy bars. Everybody loved candy. And put $20 in there, put it in a bag, you know, double knotted it, drove like across the intersection and chucked this fucking bag across the intersection to this dude. And I'm all, hey, yo, hey, guy, there's food and money in there. Yeah, man, got to give back. But, so that's that. Like I said, I used to pick up hitchhikers and stuff, you know, because it's just like, hey, you need a ride? You going somewhere, pal? You know, I mean, one guy, I had him in my truck for a couple days. I picked him up. He was going to, like, Washington State, Burning Man Festival or some faggot hippie shit. And he was an interesting guy. He was a fire juggler with the carnival. You know, kind of an interesting dude. I mean, he did multiple stuff, but... and I did actually let him sleep in the top bunk of my truck, which probably wasn't wise. Or was that the guy who was the cyborg? You've heard about that guy, right, Kaydee-Boo? I swear I said that. So basically he was a double, I'll say it real quick. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive. But he was a 008, which is like a 007, only a little better, who worked for the government, wandering in the wilderness, documenting bugs. He killed another spy, which means he murdered a man, if indeed that was true. He could have made it up. So not a good idea to have him in my truck. What else? He was half cyborg. He was responsible for launching sewage into outer space. That's where it goes. That's what happens to it when you flush the toilet or whatever. It goes somewhere. And he had the codes. And we actually swung by Walmart. I bought him some clothes and some food and shit. And every time we were near like a payphone or a device, like the credit card machine that had the numbers, he was punching shit in there, and the lady was looking at him like, "Oh, sweetie, that thing ain't working." I'm like, "Lady, you don't have no idea. It's this guy who keeps, you know, the world sanitary and safe. You know, the unsung heroes, you know, the sanitation workers," which is kind of true in a way. But you know, he was, and I asked him, I said, "How do you launch that stuff into space?" And he's like, "You just sort of do it, you know." And I was like, "Okay." I meant like the logistics, you know, like a giant rubber band or like on a rocket ship or whatever. So I didn't want to press the issue because I didn't want to like, you know, crazy. So that was that guy. There was a fire juggler dude. There was a girl. Pulled over, said, "Hey, little girl, you want to ride?" Actually, I just said, "You need going somewhere." She had a full-grown pit bull dog. Blah, blah, blah. I'm driving along. U-Haul van passed us. I said, "Now more aerodynamic." I said, "I always thought that was kind of funny. It doesn't get much more aerodynamic than a square." She was like, ah. I was like, yeah, I suppose they mean the corners, maybe they're rounded. A motorcycle passed us. I said, you ever hitch a ride on a motorcycle? She's all, well, I got the dog. And I just looked at her and smiled. She was like, I'd love to get a ride on a motorcycle. Those motorcycle boys are sexy. And that was that. This one dude, he had a pit bull puppy. His name was Iris. It had 2 different colored eyes. One was blue. Puppy tore the shit out of some. Had like a wrapper from like Arby's or something. It tore into 1,000,000 pieces on my bed. I picked up some people, dude. That one dude, who was like, yeah, motherfucker, yeah, motherfucker. This is back when he used to drive. He was driving under the Stapleton Airport back before DIA. The runway used to cross I-70, and there was an airplane landing, but he wasn't from, here, and he didn't put 2 and 2 together, that maybe a runway could, cross a road, and he thought, he was like, what the fuck does this motherfucker do? And he's like, this motherfucker crashing, and I guess he stopped, on the highway, thinking that this plane was, making an emergency landing on a highway. So that was kind of interesting, I guess. So whatever. And like I said, I stopped doing that because number one, it's illegal. If you go through like a scale, they can search your truck and whatnot. If you get pulled over for an inspection, it's against company policy. I don't know what the fine or penalty would be. I'm just trying to, help people out. But it's a commercial vehicle and they're an unauthorized rider, so if they get hurt, they could sue the company, and retire in a palace of gold, But anyway, but I stopped doing that because, number one, because I wasn't lonely. I wasn't looking for people to talk to or anything. I just figured, here's a guy who needs a ride. I'll help him out. And then, you end up talking to him and, but they didn't smell like ass, but they smelled like that baked on BO, like they haven't showered in a couple days. So it was like a combination of like sweat and like dirt and grime. And I always had to Lysol bomb my truck and run the vents through all the different positions and hot, warm, cold, fresh, recircle, and I just got tired of it. So that's that. So anyway, here's this fortune, and here, drum roll. What we got. Contentment is just around the corner for you. Look forward. I don't think I could possibly get any more content. Wow. In fact, I'm too content for my own good. So, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you should probably, do this important thing. Fuck it. You want $1 million? All you got to do is do something that you don't want to do. It ain't worth it. It's only money. So, this fortune is bullshit. I couldn't possibly be any more content. You know who you fucking talking to? I'm that guy. I'm not only the Alpha Sigma Salamander Commander Frog Nugget bitch witch. not the. Did I say alpha? No, alphas suck. Alphas are needy. Alphas have a shelf life. Sigmas live forever. Yeah, I'm that guy. I've just decided. And actually, technically, I would consider myself a Sigma, just not a cool one. The foundation is there. I just don't have the bling. Yo, I'm gangsta. I just ain't got the lowrider or the jewelry or any of that shit. Yeah. So, which means I'm gangsta. You'd never know. I'm just in street clothes, you know what I mean? But, anyway, what else was I going to say? Oh, yeah, because sometimes I do watch those videos just out of curiosity. Well, whatever, they're funny. They're fucking hilarious. Like I said, the basic ones, Sigmas don't give no fuck about no bitches. They do their own thing. And then there's the ones that are really elaborate. Sigmas have discovered that if they get up between the hours of midnight and 2 a.m. on a full moon, it's, their energy is synchronized with the Earth's magnetic crust. And, some of it just really goes all out. It's a robotic voice, of like, Sigmas, and all that. So, but, you'll stumble across those every now and then, you know, like I I don't know. Something about, you know, never, oh, I don't remember. Not fear. It wouldn't be fear. Something like, I don't know, but like people who like to be alone and are okay with being alone, and how they get their energy, you know, and stuff, you know, and when stuff. Anyway, there was one that I stumbled across just, well, I think it was this morning. And I haven't been searching that stuff, so I don't know, whatever, maybe it's fate, but it was something that was this dude. Um, and he was talking about, if you, people like that, if they invite you into their lives, that means they really want you in their life. But if you give them any guff at all, they will politely get rid of you immediately, no questions asked. And I remember it said something like, you know, if stuff, you know, if they have to like start over and do over, they don't panic. They embrace it as like, you know, a new beginning. And it kind of made me think about like with the DUI and my job and, you know, basically being a, you know, a laborer on the ground, you know, and stuff, and that whole loader thing for a minute. But that, you know, long term, playing the long game, you know, that's, and, you know, like I said, I mean, I'm making, I don't know what the percentage it would be, but it's a buku, uh, you know, tens of thousands of dollars more, you know, than I was making. So, yeah, sure. You want me to, you know, clear some clay out of a cone and, do so. I mean, the work isn't super physically demanding, you know what I mean? It is, but it isn't. And like I said, you know, that the stuff that is, it's not like a constant, you know, like I said, you know, biceps, triceps, shoulders, and forearms, and these traps or whatever. A little bit of chest, a little bit of the front muscles in on your legs, calves, and your glutes. Still need to get my weights and all that stuff. My weight set. Well, I have my free weights, but since I got this new job, I've just been coming home and been tired. I need to write stuff down as far as getting my reps in and stuff. Because like I said, I do things differently and more efficiently. So, you know, I can gain strength and size pretty quick, you know. But I need to not waste that. Um, you know, I need to work out some sort of system. Because when I get home, I'm not going to want to work out for like, you know, 45 minutes or even 30 minutes. And like I said, you know, it just, you don't need to do that. Do it my way. You know, I mean, you just, you know, you lift those weights in the way that you need to as far as range of motion, going till failure, heavy, you know, low reps, light, you know, low weight, high reps, all that stuff. I know it sounds kind of stupid, but 20 minutes, you know, 3 times a week, you know, you'll see results my way. Well, maybe you won't, but because like I said, I do, you know, my body responds well, and the whole T levels things, they're, you know, almost supernatural. Like I said, I got T levels of a bulldozer. You know, mid-9s. That was like a year and a half ago. So, but like I said, I don't, you know, I don't want to rest on my laurels, as that goes. The saying goes, you know. Like, do you have any ideas how much T levels these balls are pumping out? Huh? Hey. Put your butt on me. Panty butt, thong, smooth groove, all that. Yeah. Good Christian girl like you. You're not all goody two shoe, is you? I mean, that's all fine and good. I consider myself a Christian, just a bad one. Shit. But when it comes to lust, you know, I'm actually not like an out of control, you know, raging monkey fucking a football kind of dude. I have extremely high sex drive, but you know, I'm not a depraved, lustful maniac. I just have extreme levels of lust, but they are absolutely under control. So don't worry, I won't turn you into a sexual, I'll turn you into a diva, but you'll also be a wife and a mother and a lady and a woman and all that stuff. I'm not gonna just turn you into this, cum rag, but because that's your role in life. Your role in life is to please me and make me happy. So make me feel like a wonder boy and all that shit. I mean, not really. I'm exaggerating. Well, it's just like Mr. Longhead said, if a chick really, is into you, she'll quote unquote, for lack of a better word, submit to you. That's what she wants. That's what she expects. It doesn't mean she wants to be told what to do. It just means she wants to subconsciously be led, made to feel a certain way. Like I said, I've said this 1,000 times. The words "I love you" are the 3 most empty words in the English language, in my opinion. To truly convey that message, it needs to be something that's felt. And there's that Goldilocks zone. You don't want to come off as too needy, or maybe you're joking around, just there's the right time and mood and vibe, when you want to do what you want to do. If you want to slap her ass, get a little rubby gentle, with her, whatever, give her a hug and a kiss, But like I said, I've said this before in other audio presentations. This is me talking. I didn't hear this anywhere. Because I do, I listen to stuff like that, like Mr. Longhead and stuff. You got to be the fucking king, and all this, that, and the other. Just you do you, and if a bitch is into you, she'll be into you, all that. And I get it. But I don't listen to that. I listen to that content because I like Mr. Longhead, and I listen to that shit, and similar type stuff. But then you got a break, and like I said, the example I gave, in that audio presentation I did a while back, you leave her presence somewhere. You just did something good. You made her feel real good. You meant it. It was natural. It flowed. Then you walk away, go downstairs, go out in the shed or garage or whatever, and she's there slaving away, cooking food, cleaning, and doing all that womanly servant stuff. And she's thinking just how goddamn lucky she is that she's got a dude who gets it, understands, cares, and somehow mysteriously knows her mood, even if she's trying to hide it or play mind games or something, he's got her, he gets her, and she will do the same with him. She'll know, if he's in a mood or if he's got something on his mind, something must have happened, did his, maybe it's a stressful time and he was trying to keep things, because things are already stressful enough as it is. So and I'm just making this up. So he's trying to, he doesn't want to drop that either with just her. Maybe kids are on the scene. Maybe it's a family unit now. But after time, she'll be able to pick up on that. That maybe that night, when they're in bed or whatever, everything all right, blah, 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 all that shit. But anyway, so here's, I read this. Oh, no, I didn't. A beneficial surprise is in store for you this week. Well, I bought that lucky lottery ticket. That'd be nice. I'd still work though, So, like I said, I'd go buy all them bums lunch. I'd buy them groceries, Probably start a riot. They'd probably stab each other over it. There'd be some guy who's on drugs or whatever. Hey, give me all your bread and bologna, motherfuckers, and good intentions, I guess. No good deed goes unpunished. But yeah, give them each a $20 bill, loaf of bread, some bologna, 2 bottles of water, 2 candy bars, like a Snickers and like a Twix, Or maybe something that doesn't melt. Well, a Snickers so they can grow. Everybody loves Snickers, you know, packed with chewy nougat, sweet, creamy caramel, and packed with those energy-giving peanuts. And, you know, whatever. Maybe a soda pop, you know. Something that's like universal, you know, like a Sprite, you know, like everybody loves Sprite or whatever. Yeah, maybe buy them. I'll buy them all an umbrella and a foldable lawn chair. No, I'll buy them the foldable lawn chairs that have the built-in umbrella, like the little thing that comes out. So here you go. I just won the lottery. I got more money than I could spend in a lifetime. I'll tell y'all what. Y'all don't have to huddle under the tree, you know, at the end of the day, or when you're standing here on the corner in this 100-degree heat with that sign. You can be sitting in a comfortable fold-out lawn chair with a built-in shade apparatus, device, structure, built right in. Then you can fold it up, throw it on your back, and go back to, you know, your humble home. Every now and then I drive by here to buy some food, you know, don't even have to get out of my car. I'll tell y'all what. Since I got more money than I know what to do with, I'll buy everybody here a Whopper. Yeah, in fact, I'll buy you 2. You can eat 1 or half of it because Whoppers are pretty big. And you homeless folks, I bet you don't eat much. So your stomachs are probably pretty shriveled up. So I'll buy you 2 Whoppers. I just bought you, and you probably only eat 1 meal a day to conserve, you know, you got to conserve your energy and you need to stretch it out as long as you can. So, seeing as I got this fortune cookie here, it says beneficial surprise, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell you what, once a week, all of you, I will buy you 4 days worth of food. What do you say? So, and every now and then, if I'm feeling generous, I might even buy y'all a box of donuts. So, yeah, got to give back.